Good evening, everybody. Jared Smith here with the Carolina Weather Group, reporting to you from Charleston, South Carolina, as we take a look at potentially for some rough and tumble weather tomorrow with a very strong cold front and a potent upper level low, kind of working in concert to bring some showers and thunderstorms to the area throughout the eastern Carolinas, with the potential for a few of those thunderstorms to be strong and severe with damaging wind gusts and maybe even a couple tornadoes. Hopefully not. But we need to be prepared for that, and we need to be ready for that, for that possibility. That's just what we do here. The conditions are modeled to be pretty reasonably favorable, especially if we can get a little more of that instability in. But let's get to that here in a second. What I want to do right now is show you the severe weather outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. The area in yellow here, right behind me for Hilton Head and Charleston, Myrtle Beach, Florence, those areas, you are in a slight risk for tomorrow. That's a level 2 out of 5. So Storm Prediction Center has a 1 through 5 scale for severe thunderstorm coverage and confidence. And so level 2 out of 5 for much of the Carolina coast. Heading into southeast North Carolina, we'll talk about North Carolina here in a second. We also have a little bit of a marginal risk for Columbia and down into Aiken, with the potential for an isolated severe thunderstorm or two, primarily with a damaging wind threat there. But again, the risk there is going to be a little bit lower because it all depends on just how far inland a warm front can penetrate later in the evening on Thursday. So let's go into North Carolina. Let's take a look at North Carolina real quick and update here. So we have the slight risk of severe thunderstorms spreading into southeastern North Carolina. So Fayetteville, Wilmington, kind of on the edge of Morehead City here, Cape Lookout. You're in that little higher, not higher risk, but the risk there is going to be a little bit more elevated for strong to severe thunderstorms. Again, damaging winds and maybe a tornado or two. And then further north, as we get later into the day and overnight in North Carolina, we're going to see this severe weather threat to begin to diminish some. But there will be a bit of an overnight severe weather threat into northeast as we get into northeast North Carolina. So we're going to keep an eye on that. Let's talk about what this could look like tomorrow. And again, we're not quite sure how this is exactly going to unfold, but our modeling is pretty good and can give us a general idea of what to expect. So here we go. This is at 8 o'clock in the morning. May have a few showers ongoing, generally in Georgia here. Way over there, and my hand cuts off. So there you go. But that's the beauty of doing these. But I digress. So we have the potential here in Georgia for some rain showers, maybe some embedded thunderstorms going along, and then as we get into let's roll it forward to about 2 o'clock. So this 2 o'clock, start to see some showers and maybe a couple thunderstorms begin to roll into South Carolina from the southwest. And again, if you look towards Atlanta and Macon and in the Athens area, that's kind of where you're going to have your surface low. Looks like a little surface low spinning up there. The upper low is going to be edging closer and closer, and that is going to help enhance showers and thunderstorms as they move further north and east across the Carolinas throughout the afternoon and evening hours. So let's go into those afternoon hours. So this is 4 o'clock, and again, you notice that southeasterly wind too. I've got the winds up here, I've got the surface winds, and I've got the radar and the isobars for pressure. So you can kind of get an idea of where the lows and the highs are going to be. But you can see we have tightening isobars, so it's going to be breezy, and we're also going to see some southeasterly winds off of the ocean. And what's going to happen with that is there will be a potential for, with that wind shifting with height. Again, that's why we're a little concerned about the tornado threat, because we're going southeasterly at the surface, a little more southerly, about 3,000 to 4,000 feet up, and then southwesterly as we get further up. So that veering profile in the winds has, is certainly giving us pause as far as, the tornado threat, and something that we want to watch very closely for potentially a few organized severe thunderstorms. But again, a lot of that is going to be driven on how much instability can move in. And so we're going to look at 6 o'clock here. And again, I want to emphasize that these timings may not be completely on point. again, this is modeled, a day out basically. So, timing changes. That's why we're going to need to watch this all day tomorrow. But to give you a general idea, we should start to see some showers and thunderstorms, some stronger ones, moving across the Savannah River, kind of the back end of the line. And this may be the main event here. As we get closer into 7, 8 o'clock across the Charleston metro area, heading up towards Columbia. But again, as you get further inland, that severe weather risk will diminish as instability is going to be lower. And it's very possible, too, that ahead of these, we may see some instability kind of get, tamped down with how much rain falls ahead of these. And if we can get some rain ahead of these and keep that around for a little bit, that may lower the severe risk. But again, with wind fields the way they are, it may not matter as much. So that is certainly something that we're going to want to keep an eye on. And as we get later into the evening, we start to see these storms approach the PD of South Carolina. So Florence, Myrtle Beach, it's going to be your turn in the fire, so to speak, as these thunderstorms move up. Again, that severe weather risk will continue up into Florence and Myrtle Beach. Wilmington, be on guard for these. If the model timing is correct, and usually this far out, there's kinks and there's issues. So we don't want to take this too literally, but what this does show is that there is the potential, because this is midnight now, we're looking at midnight, there is the potential for potentially some thunderstorms becoming severe after dark and after people go to bed. So what we're going to ask you to do tomorrow is make sure that your weather radio is turned on, make sure that you have redundant ways to receive warnings and that they can wake you, especially in southeastern North Carolina. So these storms will be moving northward, and as you'll note on the simulated radar here, that they are weakening with time. So that is good news as we get further into the northeast North Carolina, where that severe weather risk becomes a little bit more marginal in nature. We get into that area that's kind of the 1 out of 5. The most important thing is that storms do not care about Storm Prediction Center outlook boundaries. So that is always something that we want people to be aware of with these events, that just because you're in the slight or the marginal area or something like that, it doesn't mean that you're out of the woods if you're in the marginal area versus the slight. We often see very busy days and marginal days. That's a thing in the Carolinas. We can just have them absolutely pop off on marginal days. Doesn't look like that's going to be the case here, again, given the limited instability, but certainly something to watch. And then we'll just move through time. And we're going to have some showers kind of hanging around in parts of the Carolinas as we get into Friday as well. That upper low is going to lumber through, drop in heights aloft, a little bit steeper lapse rates at the surface, and so we could see some showers develop there as well. So again, going one more time, let's go back to the convective outlook real quick, and we'll just kind of recap here before we sign off. Hilton Head, Charleston, Myrtle Beach, Florence, there is a potential for strong to severe thunderstorms in South Carolina tomorrow, east of 95, primarily with the risk for damaging winds and maybe a tornado or two. So again, it's important to make sure that you've got your weather alerts ready to go. They're tested. Everything is working. Your phones are nearby. You're receiving those government alerts for severe weather. So certainly things that you want to keep an eye on for tomorrow. And then getting into North Carolina, same deal for southeastern North Carolina. Again, places like Fayetteville, Wilmington, Morehead City. Want you to be on your guard here. In southeast North Carolina in particular, again, because that tornado threat is going to shift northward and could persist after dark. So we want you to make sure that your severe weather alerting tools can wake you. And so no weather radio is great for that. Again, smartphones will go off very loudly for tornado warnings, as many of you know. And with any luck, you won't need any of that, but it's good to know that you have it if you need it. So how do you stay up to date with it? I mean, you watch your local meteorologist. You can watch us on the Carolina Weather Net on YouTube. Carolina Weather Net is our 24/7 Carolina Weather Group show. You can watch the best of the Carolina Weather Group, and then if severe weather strikes, then we have the ticker running at the bottom, show you where all the watches and warnings are across the Carolinas, and that's another way that you can get information, and be sure to pass that along to folks as needed. So again, hopefully we won't need it, but if you do, it's there, and we invite you to watch. And and if things really hit the fan, we'll break in. So no concerns there. But again, with any luck, we won't have to talk to you tomorrow about anything else. So again, let's just make sure that we're paying attention to the weather. It's been a while for some of us since we've had a decent severe weather threat, especially in South Carolina, especially along the coast of South Carolina. It's been really pleasant here for a while. So a good time to remind ourselves of the importance of severe weather safety. So it'll be all right, though. We're going to get through it. It's a pretty standard fall event. Again, this is transitional season. This is not weird for October by any stretch of the imagination. This is not weird for winters here, especially in the early going. So cool season severe weather events getting started maybe a little bit early, but no big deal. Nothing to be concerned about. So just keep an eye on it and be ready to and know what your severe weather plan is in case a severe thunderstorm or, God forbid, a tornado does threaten your location. So receive those warnings, receive those watches, stay tuned to us on the Carolina Weather Net. Got you covered. So with all that in mind, we're going to go ahead and sign off here. I'm Jared Smith, once again in Charleston, South Carolina for the Carolina Weather Group. Wishing you a pleasant evening and a safe tomorrow and a wonderful weekend of weather ahead. It's going to feel a little bit more fall-like once we get this front through. So something to look forward to after this kind of mess tomorrow on Thursday. So that'll do it for me. Take care, everybody.